My name's Allison. I run Loopy Crochet. I do mostly fiber arts, crochet and knit items, and I got into markets this year, and so I have a lot of information on that. Anything you might want. So I've been doing markets for about a year. I've been crocheting for about 14 years, and I've been knitting for about six. And I also do pattern writing, so little jack of all
Cool.
trades.
That's fun. I like the pattern writing. That's really exciting because like it's fun to do the crocheting and stuff, but it's really fun to be able to like create your own patterns too.
It
Like,
really is, and it's definitely a talent that you have to
yeah.
like work on and develop
Oh, I
because
bet.
it's that whole peanut butter and jelly scenario where you have to teach somebody to do make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, but if you don't say get the knife first, they're not going to go get the knife. Like,
Right.
and I have a background in that though. I have 25 years of research and development of programs and stuff like that. So luckily, pattern writing is something that I can kind of just like easily into because I've
Yeah.
developed training and stuff like that. So I understand that. But still, I mean, like it's a whole world of learning stuff, just like markets and wholesale and all
Yeah,
that
it's
kind
a
of stuff.
lot.
Yeah.
That's
Cool.
awesome. It's also how you know you're really good at what you do if you can get beyond like teaching other people what to do.
Yes. It's definitely a talent to teach people stuff. I've tried to teach people stuff before, and sometimes it works well and sometimes it doesn't. So
It's awesome. Well, it's exciting to have you here. Sam, do you want to go next?
Yeah. Hi everyone. Thanks for joining and hopping on. I'm super excited to be here. My name's Sam. I run the Castle Kitchen. This is Eleanor.
hi,
My little witchy kitty. She likes snuggles. So currently I'm making soaps and candles, but I've been crafting and doing like craft fairs and stuff for like a decade now. It's
Nice.
just one of those things that just kind of made sense to me. Normal 9 to 5 jobs never made sense to me. So yeah, I just chose to craft and be artsy for my career. Um, but yeah, I make soaps. I have Nigerian dwarf goats, so I have a little hobby farm here in Indiana, and it's a lot of fun. So I just learned about the wholesaling stuff, and I had the pleasure of talking to another female-owned small business. So we had a meeting a couple weeks ago, so hopefully I'll be able to share some of that as well. But yeah. What about
Awesome.
you, Saya?
Yeah, okay, so I only started this business oh, hold on, I think I figured out how to no, never mind, I just fixed it to a different one. I thought I
That's
got it. I'm fine.
okay.
So I started this business in June, so I'm much newer to it than both of you. I
You're doing so well, by the way, for being just
Yeah.
from June to now. Like, holy crap, girl! Like you have blown me out of the water with how quickly you've been able to take things and really like make a market of this. So,
think
congrats to you on that. But sorry, continue.
I think a lot of it is luck, honestly, because I got like the algorithm is so arbitrary, right? Like
Yeah.
I just got lucky that it blew up a couple of videos for some random reason, and then it just it made it easier
Because they
to
were
work.
hilarious. That's why they blew up. Sorry, I
Oh
have to
yeah.
say that. Because I found you through your TikTok where you're like, I just make stuff for myself. And there's got to be more people out there.
That's
And
the
I was like,
video that
I
I
love this
found
girl.
too. That was the one that made me follow her as well.
I was like,
Thank
I
you,
love
thank you.
you. You're so cool.
Yeah.
I think I'm just very like derpy in real life, and I just make videos where I am the same way online, and it seems to resonate with people, and I'm very fortunate for that. So yeah,
That
That's
was the best piece of
okay.
advice that I ever got. Like when I started doing more like social media stuff about 8 years ago for my business, people were just like, like you can do trends if you want. If they resonate with you, you can, you can try to do a brand, but they're like, your brand should really be yourself and you should be yourself because people are going to know if you're authentic or not.
Yeah. People are going to see that and like that a lot more than, you know, like the super fake robotic type of thing. Like
Yep.
people don't like that anymore. I mean, one of the things that's trending right now is people showing how messy their houses are. I mean, like that's the
I
thing
love that.
right now.
Makes
Like
me
being
feel better.
so genuinely authentic.
I need to get
I
in on that. Like my place is just a disaster while I'm like market prepping right now.
Oh my
I
God. That's how it'll look literally every time. I feel
yes.
like every time that I take a day, because I always take the whole day to craft. I don't just like spend an hour. You got to do the whole chunk. And I feel like my kitchen and my dining room just explode. And there's like stuff everywhere and it's pure chaos because like the soaps I have to make in the kitchen and then I lay it all out in the dining room and like I have the teacups in there and so it's just like, oh no.
Your house must smell incredible all the time, I gotta say, making all this stuff.
I also have pets, so I have to be very careful where I'm like drawing the line because you got like the pets and they're gross and you have to like constantly like tend to them. But then I have the soaps all contained in a room that no animals are allowed to go in because like I want to keep it hair free and everything. And yeah, every time I walk in that room, it's like I get smacked with like fragrances. I'm like, oh my God, that is very strong. Okay.
Like walking into a Bath and Body Works, only better.
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely not as aggressive as the Bath and Body Works, but it's
It's
definitely as
very
clean,
aggressive.
you know?
Yes.
Also,
Mine definitely looks like yarn barf everywhere. So I actually regularly do lives to clean up my craft room after like a series of markets because it makes
Yeah.
me clean it up and it just makes it more entertaining. And I'm
See,
like,
I
this is what
love
it
that
looks
because like
like.
I will play on my phone so much if I don't like do something. So I love sitting it up and doing
Yep.
the live instead. I've done that a couple times where I'm like, I have to clean my house and like there's no way I'm gonna get it done if I'm watching TikTok. So I'll make TikTok watch me and oh hey look, you did it!
trying to figure out how to make this bigger. That was exactly what they're like.
Yay!
Okay, cool. Also, I forgot, we've all introduced ourselves. If there are any small businesses in the comments, like please introduce yourself and what shop you do and like what you've been selling, whether you're interested in going markets or what you were hoping to get out of this, because
We'll be your
we have
friend.
yeah, yeah, definitely. We
Yeah,
have a
we'll be
conversation
your
in
friend. Just
common.
comment below. We'll say hi.
Absolutely.
I tell people all the time when I'm doing my lives, I'm like, guys, seriously, you can talk. Like, I'm a human. I'm not a person that has 6 million followers that won't see any of your comments. I'm like, I will see you. I will talk to you. If you message me, I'll message you back. Like, I'm just a person.
Same. Same here. Yeah.
Yeah.
Just now, it might take me 24 hours to message you back, but I will.
Yeah.
Back to
Only
you,
because
I
of
will
like, you know, the
answer.
crippling anxiety and everything. But
Yeah, I will give you an answer ASAP to the best of my knowledge. Even
for
if you just want
sure.
to say, hey, I love talking about books and movies. So, even if you just sent me a recommendation of your favorite TV show,
Oh my gosh.
super happy.
I keep falling down the book talk rabbit hole and I'm like, oh no.
Yeah,
So
I limit my book talk. I like set a timer and limit it because, yeah, I'll spend like 4 hours just watching like book reviews and
there's so much. There's this
so
one
bad.
chick, she like reviews them with just like sound. It's like an audio list review. She sets a stack of books down and she'll look at one and she'll be like, and then like there's another one and she'll be like, and then she'll like throw the book and it's all silent and it's just hilarious. I love her reviews because I'm like, this makes sense to me. Oh, people are commenting, by the way. Hi, everyone.
Hey, nice to meet you
Kaylin,
too.
Kaylin is
Hello.
very, very
Glad
cool
you're
at like
here.
art. And it's funny that we're talking about book talk as she joined because she specifically caters to authors in particular and readers. So a
Oh,
lot of her artwork is it's focused around that.
Which
So
one? Who is this?
that's the abstract voyager.
Oh, okay. Hey. She heard us talking about book talk and she was like, "You cold?"
The
she
siren
felt
song.
it and she was like, oh, here we go.
Oh, hey.
Oh.
Maria also makes really, really cute paintings. I've seen her like tiny canvases. They're all adorable characters. Um, Aphrodite is also Allison. She is starting her business actually. So
She was asking a bunch of questions. I saw her name next to like a whole bunch of stuff. Aphrodite, we are happy to help. We will do what we can.
okay, so that's a good segue. Maybe we start breaking into those.
Yeah, there we go. I was wondering how we were going to get to that.
You did a good transition.
I won't stop talking unless you tell me to.
No, it's gonna be perfect. So the first question, I think we should start with just like the basic. How do you find markets? How do you hear about them?
Well, personally, I found that Facebook has been super resourceful because there's a ton of Facebook chatter groups that are like specifically local to like your area. But then in addition to that, if you search up like vendors, there's like vendor Facebook groups specifically for crafty individuals in your area that all get together and like post about craft events. So I would recommend that. That would be one of my things that I
Face,
do a lot.
I would definitely agree. Facebook, join, like, for example, around me, I'm in Georgia, and I've seen this for a lot, like what's happening in and then your city. Also, one of the places I actually find a lot of stuff in is for this specifically is for women, small owned businesses, but joining local groups for small businesses around you, and everybody will support. Also, if there's a newsletter, I actually find out a lot about a lot of stuff in my county because there's newsletters for all the cities.
Yeah.
So I sign up for that, and I get an email, and I open it, and it'll say, hey, these events are taking place, and we're
That's
looking
a
for
really
vendors.
good idea.
Mm-hmm.
We have like a community center that like it you can't sign up for the newsletter, but very similar to that where it's like a community website just for like our little county, and they'll post. I mean, they normally have calendar events scheduled like 2-3 months out, so you can go online and like look. But that's a good idea. If you have a newsletter you can subscribe to.
Another good thing to do is there are websites out there that it's not necessarily for vendors, but it's for different types of fairs. And it's all in one place, and it will show you everything that has been registered with them or that they found that's local. And then all you have to go is research that fair and see if their applications are still open. The other thing I found that's good is there are literally companies out there that do not require you to pay. If you want to pay for one, if you're feeling like that, you can pay to join a community that will then help market you and get you into craft fairs. I have some friends, one that makes candles that does that. But there are other communities that you can join that they actually set up crafts for, and you can say what events within a quarter that you're interested in, and then they'll invite you to join. And so it's kind of like an easy support way, and it's like breweries and wineries. And
That's
things
good.
like that, which, by the way, those are really good markets.
Yeah,
you should look into.
I've never even thought about those.
Drunk people love to buy stuff. I'm sorry.
There's not. No, you're
I'm
right.
slightly
There's not really
like,
any breweries or wineries around here, but like you're right. Absolutely, and most of them have money to blow because they're blowing it already on like a ton of alcohol.
Yes. like literally, like, and you're tipsy, and so you're kind of like, oh, okay, this is super cute.
Yeah.
Like, I would have been like, ooh. I would have loved yours. I would have totally bought something from both of y'all's because we got cute kawaii things. And I'm like, here, take my money, stickers and stuff, and then really good smelling soap. So
there's a reason that drunk shopping is a thing. Like
there's a reason why I avoid it too.
Yeah.
I will add on to the finding groups on Facebook. The easiest way to find it is type in your state and vendor, and then like so many groups will pop up. Or like if region has a different name, like I live in the Seattle area, so we call ourselves the Pacific Northwest. So I type in like PNW vendor, and I literally just looked it up on Facebook to test it. There's like 20 groups that popped up with that name.
Yeah, there's a bunch, and like I mean I'm in Indiana, so like I don't know how each specific area is, but I'm assuming it's like that everywhere where you can like just join. There's crafty people everywhere. Like it's just, we're all over the place.
speaking of that, another really good way, this actually speaks, is kind of an answer to another one of the questions a little bit down, but, or a segue into that one. But another good way for you to find craft fairs or fairs that you would be interested in is to go to said fairs and talk to vendors that are not selling the same thing you are. And the
Mm-hmm.
only reason why I suggest that is because if you talk to a vendor that's selling the same thing you are, and then they kind of find out that that's why you're asking questions, you might get someone like me who's like, here's all the information, let me help you blossom into a butterfly. But you will
Right.
also find people that will start getting very cagey with you. But if
Yeah.
you talk to other vendors, they will tell you things that are going on, and you don't even have to know them. You just have to be like, hey, I want to get into this. And like
Right.
most craft
They
people
don't
are
feel
like, here you
threatened
go.
by you.
Exactly.
That was definitely one of the points that I wanted to mention, like at some point today while we were talking, is just like if you're gonna do a craft fair, like just remember to be respectful of other vendors, whether they're selling the same stuff that you are or not, because there's been times where I've been like there was for instance a time where I got invited to start attending it was like a farmers market, so it was happening weekly, and I got invited, and I was like, yeah, sure, like this will be fun. Well, I went there and found out that they only had like 3 other vendors. It's a very tiny town, and I was going to start going with them, but one of the only vendors they already had was selling the exact same stuff that I had, and
Oh,
and for me, in my mind, I'm like, this is her territory. Like I don't want to step on toes. I don't want to be disrespectful. So I chose to, after that first day, I was like, I messaged the host, and I was like, I really appreciate it, but I don't think it's respectful to like step on her toes when we're selling the exact same thing. And there's only like 4 booths here. Like that's not very fair. But like just be respectful and be kind, because a lot of people at these events also get kind of like snippety, and they're very short with the other vendors. I've never understood that. Just be nice and friendly. Like that's my thing. I'm like, let's just all get along.
yeah, I've definitely found that the
Mm-hmm.
small business community, like on TikTok in particular, has been like very friendly. People like
Yeah.
promoting for their things, and like I don't know why anyone would be mean to someone else, and like you
Yeah.
besides being an asshole, which we shouldn't do. Like you also like
Right.
that's
I
not even
think
bad
it's
for
more the
business.
older crowd sees it as like, oh, you're my competition, but like the younger generation understands that like there is plenty to go around. There is plenty of business to be had. So, just being respectful and kind during all that to anyone who's listening or watching, like if you're going to go to an event, just be mindful of other vendors. We're all just trying
Mhm.
to make money and make a living.
Yeah. And
So,
the question, oh, go ahead.
oh no, I was going to switch tracks to the next question, but if you have
Oh,
something
I
to
was
add
just
on,
going
just
to say the question that I was kind of saying that it related to was, how do you know what kind of markets
Hmm.
to like
Mhm.
vend at? Like how do you find your niche markets that are going to be best for you? Well, one of the ways to do that is to actually go to a similar or the same fair and to talk to vendors and see what people are selling and how they do and how they like it.
Yeah.
Um, because usually coordinated fairs or coordinated craft events, there's multiples coordinated by the same company. So if you go to one of their events, you'll kind of get a feel for how it would go for you.
Right.
Mhm.
um, but also looking for niche events for what you do. So like I do a lot of botanicals, so I started looking for actually plant markets, because I'm not selling actual plants, I'm selling plant adjacent cute things as well as plants you can't kill.
But that
So
makes sense though. And
yes.
you've found a way to connect the two to make it make sense, and like you're going to be a really happy surprise for the people who show up to those events just looking for live plants, and then they
Mhm.
see this adorable little crocheted thing and they're like, "Oh my god, I didn't even know I needed this in my life."
Yeah,
I
I
That's
do
do
little,
brilliant.
know at the
I did
last
little oh sorry, I was gonna say I did those little woodland creatures at my last plant event
Oh,
that you
oh
could stick into
yeah,
pots, and those were a pretty big hit. I don't have any pictures of them because I made them like last minute, but like next spring they'll definitely start making an appearance
if you
again.
have some, I dibs. I'll buy a
As soon
squirrel.
as I make some more, I will send you pictures.
I do wildlife rehab like in my free time. But I primarily rehab squirrels. So like I have a squirrel like chilling in my living room right now. So like yeah.
So at the last market I went to, it was geek themed and there was only a single food
Ooh.
vendor. And so like being the only one and they had nothing to do with food. They just applied and they were I guess they were the only food vendor, so
Yeah.
they got in and they had a ton of business. So yeah, definitely
Good.
agree. Like go to markets that are like adjacent to your niche and you're definitely going to stand out a little bit more. And that question was sent in by Spins. I don't know if he's here. But if he is, yeah, that was a great one. The next one was also sent in. This one is by Yvonne. It was how to spot scams when applying. I will personally say, like, I don't see public advertisements for that market.
Yeah.
And I don't, like usually on the market official page, they will also have the vendor call. And if there's someone random being like, "Oh, apply for this market," and they're not using like a email address that has to do with that market or the company hosting it, and they're just sort of like, yeah, pay me through like PayPal or Zelle, and it's their like personal
Yeah.
information, not like the company, then those are always warning signs for me.
Yeah. Just watch the red flags. I don't think I've ever encountered a scam, but I also like a lot of the events will like they're okay with paying the day of, or if they're not, like you said, it's an official like Facebook page and they've got tons of followers and views and it's a reoccurring event and yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can't find the event even in a Google search, like
It's
that's a
probably not
huge
real.
red flag. If somebody posts a link, kind of like if you're looking for just like a scammer online, it's like the same kind of idea. Like if somebody posts a link, like if you in a Facebook group say, "Hey, I'm looking for this kind of fair," and people start recommending things, and someone says, "Oh, apply here," and the link looks fishy, or like it doesn't look like you're going to an actual website, like
Yeah.
www dot dallasmerchantassociation.com,
Right.
don't click the link and probably don't apply
Yeah, just ignore
for
that one.
that fair.
Hmm.
Yeah. um
Yeah, damn, I'm glad there aren't too many scams near you because at least in the Seattle area, like a lot of the Pacific Northwest events, like there's a ton of
Oh.
scammers around. So it's
Oh.
usually up to
That see
the
that
group
question,
operator to keep an eye
I was
out.
like, oh man, like I hope that this is not happening a lot. Yeah,
Definitely is.
I'm
Yeah,
I'm in an area where
wow.
there's a ton of like old people and they're like all the ones doing the events because it's like they're bored and they're retired and so they're like hosting all these really cute little old events and it's lovely and I do them all the time and it's so adorable but like yeah, it's just a bunch of sweet little senior citizens that are like, look at my crocheting and look at here's my things. I
I
love
love
this.
them. I would
My
I would love to come up there and meet them.
Oh,
uh,
I'm sure they're so sweet. I tell them all the time I can't do crocheting and knitting because like my wrists get really bad, like it kills my wrists. And
It's hard.
but these cute little grandmas are just over there whittling away, and I'm like, okay,
hi
I love
Kate.
That's
Just
adorable. Man, I wish my
grandma
market
at the
scene was
heart.
like that.
It's
Yeah,
harder because I sell things that like I sell the soaps and stuff now, but I've done a lot of things that were a bit more for the younger generation and a bit more like uh more of the metaphysical side of things, I'll say. And it's been very funny to see some of their reactions though, because they're just like, oh my, oh. Like, oh gosh.
that's adorable.
Anyway, sorry. I just
Okay,
realized I started on a ramble. My bad.
You're just
I
keeping me
was
from rambling, so you're good.
Aphrodite, Allison, we actually have a bunch of your questions coming up next. So I'm glad you're
Cool.
here. Once you've gotten into a market, how do you promote the market on social media? Like, what kinds of videos do you make, and how do you also manage like editing and posting those videos and taking the time to do that while you have another job? So this is not your full-time thing.
So one thing is, so this also speaks to the market's not a scam. Um, Usually when you sign up for a market and even beforehand, there are already flyers made promoting that event. So typically you will get some kind of promotion package, and depending on how big the market is and where it's located will depend on if it's just a singular flyer, or sometimes the like these big like week-long craft fairs and like 3-day craft fairs, a lot of them will actually give you promotional packets for you to repost, and then they'll ask for some video and stuff from you, and they will make your promos for you.
Yeah.
Those ones are expensive. So like my realm is $75 or less was this year. I didn't do anything for more than that. But I would say make sure that you use flyers. Make sure that you have on your social media accounts, if you have like on Instagram, you can do like a highlights section. Make one that's for upcoming events. It was recommended to me, and I like this. Put your events in your bio on all of your social medias, like next event, and then say when and where it is. And as far as reels go, make reels of what you're bringing, whether it's what I made for market prep today, and you just show it and you toss it in a bin. Like, so for me, for fiber arts, it's very easy for me to throw myself around. Probably not so much for soaps, but you just showcase some of the stuff. I don't normally post prices with mine. I think I'll probably change that next year. But you can mention price ranges in your comments. That's always helpful too, to like kind of entice people to come out, especially this time of year when people are looking for little gifts, like to say that you have like gifts that are $15 and under. That really helps. But showing your product, and then always making sure that you're mentioning your market. Like, post it to your stories every day, the flyer. Hey, come out and see me. Invite people out to act like you're asking your friend to go to dinner.
Right.
Sorry, I love
that. I like the Instagram.
This is not coordinated. We never discussed this.
Oh, did you guys see that too? I started smiling.
That's why I started laughing, because I was like, oh my gosh,
I didn't notice until they pointed it out, but yeah.
We're just a bunch of fall girlies, We just like the oranges and yellows.
This is our season. This is the only time we get to
love the 2 hair down and then the 2 glasses. So we've got all kinds of little
my gosh,
like, artsy coordination going on here without intending. We both have a couch in the background. The white walls. Wow, this worked out really well, guys. Aesthetically, we did not mean it to be this pleasing.
We did good.
I'm happy with this.
Detail. We have this amazing attention to detail. This is all on purpose, for sure.
That is just uncanny. Oh my god. I didn't even notice I noticed the outfits after they commented, but then you were like, and the glasses and the hair and the background.
Oh, my ADHD, hit me right off there. And I was like, wait, what else matches?
I love it.
That. Is that a Mean Girls reference? On Wednesdays we wear pink.
Great reference. A++ from me.
Yeah, but yeah, that was great advice. I'll add on to the how to advertise without putting in too much effort thing. I make low effort content all the time. Like the one I made promoting this live last night was very low effort. I was stuck at the post office. You two know I had a better video planned, but I got stuck at the post office in holiday time. So I came home and I was like, oh shit, I have so little time.
I liked it though. It was all right. Yeah. It's good.
And I don't know if all the people in the live have seen it, but it was just like a joke video. I just panned over the mess that is in my office right now. I literally just panned over this in slow motion. And then I had a very melodramatic audio over it being like, I can't do this. Everything's a mess. And then just a caption about how I'm a mess, but you don't need to be. Come to our live tomorrow to learn from these 2 amazing women.
I thought it was clever.
Thank you.
It was very on brand and very funny. And actually, I like the low okay, I appreciate a very aesthetically planned out.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I love those accounts. And if you scroll back on my Instagram to when I first started Loopy Cat, I have some very aesthetic flat lays and things like that. I have the ability, but you know what? I love low effort content.
Mhm.
No one's got time for that, man. No one's
Yeah,
got
exactly. And you know what? People love the low effort content because it was like we were talking about before about like showing the mess in your house. Like people like to just know that you're just like them.
right.
And the best way to get low effort content is to randomly film a 15 seconds whenever you work on your craft.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Like,
And that's a good way to get like the promotions and stuff on your social media is recognize that like it doesn't have to be perfect. A grade B, doing like B level work is better than doing no work because you wanted it to be an A level. Like just do something, anything.
Yeah.
even if it's saving little sound clips, like that's actually something I really like, the really
Yeah.
funny sound clips where a lot of people just lip sync over it. I do that like all the time.
Yeah, why not?
And you can showcase your work and it's funny at the same time. And
Absolutely.
then you're
Mhm.
good. And somebody once told me, this is one of my photography friends actually, she said, if it's going to take you more than 15 minutes to make the reel, so not take the content, if it's going to take you more than 15 minutes to find the song, make the caption, find the hashtags, like if you have some idea of hashtags and you already know about SEOs and stuff like that, well, then you're set. But like, if it's going to take more than 15 minutes, then maybe it's not worth it unless you really, really love the reel,
Right.
Mhm. Yeah,
the
totally
idea, or
agree.
Your
whatever.
time is valuable. Like you should like recognize that like, okay, how much time am I really spending on this? Is it worth it?
Especially if you're doing markets. So I don't sell online yet. That will change here after. Actually, it'll change next week. My online shop will launch next week, guys. I
Yay!
didn't actually like really plan that to be on here, but I figured it out this morning. I was like, oh yeah, okay, so we're gonna
That's
do
so
this.
exciting.
I am very
Congratulations.
excited about that. But if primarily what you do is markets or you sell in person, your social media is important, but your reach needs to be more local because you want local people to know where to find you.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah,
so
agree. Um,
so yeah, and so
jumping
then
in
your
for
content just really needs to be minimal.
jumping in for Aphrodite's comment here. Yeah, TikTok business sounds are awful.
Oh, it's
So
horrible.
my like work TikTok is all like just mostly other business accounts. So I have a personal account where I don't follow any other like business accounts. I just follow like whatever I want to see. So I get to see trends of like non-business focused you know creators. And so then I'll like repurpose some of those trends sometimes for business purposes. But like that's how I like pull my inspiration from. Like, yeah, I don't jump in on the business trends. They're all bad. You're not going to get visibility. Like it's just not worth it. So
Man, okay, good to know because I don't have like a personal and a business. It's just the TikTok I have. So like that's good to know because it's rough. Sometimes I'll go on there to try to find an audio and I'm like, why do all these suck, man? Like,
yeah, you need
gotta
you need
like
an
make my
untainted
own.
account. They'll give you
That
like all the
kind of
business
goes, well, that goes back to also being original and authentic to yourself. Like you might not grow as quickly as somebody who does all the trends and jumps on all of that. And if you're someone who does that and that's what you like to do, like there's nothing wrong
Right.
with that. No judgment from me over here.
Right.
That's just not me. And like you might grow more slowly, but you will gain an audience that
Genuinely
loyal
wants to like watch
to
you.
you. Yeah, and they want to
Yeah.
watch you and interact with you and they're interested in what you're doing next.
Yeah.
Um,
I will say
so
my
that's important.
three top watched videos don't use any audio at all. It's just me talking. So you don't need to do the trending audios at all. Yeah. Because there's also a lot of you need to like jump in on the trend early. If you jump in like too early or too late, you're not going to get visibility. There's a lot of timing, and especially if you're doing this like on the side and this is not your main thing, and you're not like online for your business like every hour of every day, then you're not going to be able to time it well. It's usually not worth it.
It's really hard. Like because like I don't have like a 9 to 5 job, but I have a toddler and that's like a 24/7 job. And like, so like I'm not on my phone like constantly. And it's really difficult to stay on top of the trends and to keep track of everything and to, okay, well, this is popular right now, but in 2 days it won't be like, oh, I got to do it now.
Yeah.
It's really hard to stay on top of that. So sometimes I'm just like, okay, I'm just going to do whatever I want and I don't care.
Yeah. I'm going to interrupt because we can go very far down the social media marketing rabbit hole. If we want to keep going on this thing. So I'm going to try
Yeah.
to
That's another
redirect
live.
back to talking about like markets. Okay, so we talked about like how to find the market and then like making sure it's a good match, spotting scams, promoting it. So let's talk about like what actually happens at the market. So like first of all, how do you decide what type of inventory to take, how much to take?
I think that depends on your individual business, but my rule of thumb is fill your space. So, like, and what I mean by that is like most places you get a 10 by 10 square, right? And you can fit like 1 or 2 6-foot tables within that. So you put 3? Oh, girl, you're
Go watch my
crazy.
most recent TikTok. I have 3 6-foot tables
You
in
have
there.
3. You do the U shape?
Yeah, well, yeah. So you can do a U shape or a Z shape also works in there, but only if you don't have people butted directly up next to you, which
Right.
did happen at my last market. So it's a U shape, but that was the first time I did the U shape with 3 6-foot tables. I
Okay,
usually use
well,
two 6-foot and a 4.
I'm poor and I don't own 3 tables, so
Yeah,
no,
I'm,
no, no.
I'm loaning
I
a table
borrow
from a
tables
neighbor.
from people. I
My
I I resource out.
Oh yeah, no, I call my mom. I'm like, Mom, they have a farm and they do events and stuff all the time. I'm like, Mom, I need a table.
Yeah,
I
that's where
should
my tip
probably
comes from.
invest in my own tables, but that's nah, no thanks. So for like for me personally, my rule of thumb is fill your table. So if you're planning on having 2 tables, fill them. Make sure that if like there's no shame in having 1 table. If you guys are watching, like, it's okay. If you want to start with 1, just start with 1. It's all right. 3 is for advanced. But like if you're bringing 1 table, fill your table and make it look full and inviting. If you're bringing 2 tables or 3 tables, make sure that they are full and that they are organized, but full. And then like maybe bring a little extra to hide under the tables. But like for me, my goal at each event is to sell out. If I sell out, that's a good thing. So I'll bring as much as I want to sell, be it, the whole table or 2 tables or whatever. And then if I sell out, cool, good. That means you did good. You did what you were supposed to do. I think there's some sort of shame in like selling out because like, oh man, I sold out, so that means I could have sold more. But like honestly, like don't, because I know with me, like craft fairs stress me out so bad. And the week before, I am cramming everything in. I'm not sleeping or eating. I am just crafting, crafting, crafting. And like, don't do that to yourself. Do what you reasonably can. Try to make your table look nice and full and complete. And then just give it to the universe. Just let it be. That's what I would say.
I actually saw a formula from a small business owner online that was like whatever your fee is, expect to sell about like 4 times that monetarily. So like that just does a rule of thumb if you don't
That's a
have
pretty
the
good,
skills to
yeah.
plan.
That is a good one. I haven't seen that one. I use a different technique than either one of you. So you guys are getting 3 different techniques here, which is kind of cool. I like that formula though, because that makes basically says you cover your fee and then you make a little bit. Hopefully, you're making at least back what your materials were, if not
Mhm.
Right.
making a profit on top of that. I, at least for fiber artists, this is the way almost everybody does it. They either do it by, yes, absolutely make sure your table looks full. Luckily, with fiber art, you can spread stuff out. So even if you
Right.
don't, and you want people to be able to see that work.
Right.
So as you have artwork like
That's
that,
a
you
good point.
might,
You can't really stack things
yeah,
that you
yeah.
might.
So when I was saying I had 3 tables, like I had a plant table there too. So really two
Okay.
table with fiber arts. Um, you can kind of use vertical, you want to use your vertical space and stuff,
Right.
but you want to spread things out so people can see it.
Right.
But I take double what I want to make at that market in inventory value.
Right.
So if I want to make $1,000, I'll take $2,000. I
Right.
usually end up taking way more than that because I am a recovering perfectionist and a spastic, and I crochet and knit all the time because it calms me down. And so I typically have a lot of inventory anyways.
Right.
But with that being said, like you were saying, I tend to get crazy the week of,
Yeah.
before market. But this week, I specifically, because my last market is this upcoming Saturday, I was like, you know what? I have like 3 items, like smaller items I need to make a multitude of, and I'm not gonna go crazy. Like I
Right.
still have enough inventory that
Good.
Mhm.
it'll
Yeah,
just
I think
be.
that's the thing, like especially like beginners tend to get very anxious, and I mean I still do this where I'm like, "Oh no, like I want to make sure I have enough to sell," but you also have to think like first of all, do not kill yourself the week before the event because because you're so exhausted and you're wearing yourself out. Like I said, you're not eating or sleeping because you're just focused on I have to have enough, I have to have enough. You're probably going to be fine, you
Mhm.
know? So, like, take a breath and, like, even if you get to the day of and you're like, I wanted to make more, it's okay. It's okay. That's my biggest thing because I feel like people will try to overproduce what they want to sell without thinking realistically of like, okay, how much are you really going to sell though? Like, yeah,
Yes.
Mhm.
having like high expectations and stuff is great, but like realistically, what are you actually going to sell? Don't overdo it because then at the end of it, you're just going to walk away like disappointed and sad because it's like, oh no, I didn't sell and I worked so hard and this week's been so stressful for me and all for what, that kind of thing. And obviously the craft fairs are fun and like put work into them. That's not what I'm saying, but yeah.
Yeah,
I
don't
wish
burn yourself
someone would
out
have
for
told me,
sure.
just calm down. It's okay. You have enough.
So
That,
I
and
saw a
also,
piece of advice. Oh, right. I saw a piece of advice online. I'm sorry, like I think there's a delay. We keep talking over each other.
I know. I was like I started talking. I'm like, oh no.
Like, wait a second.
I saw a piece of advice online about how like it's more important to have a variety of price points than a variety of product types because a variety of product types could make the customer feel like decision fatigue. Like, oh my God, there's like 7 different things. There's like books and candles and soaps and
Right.
crochet items, and this is like too much at one table. Whereas like
Right.
if you specialize in like one type of thing and then you just have that at like different price points, then it makes it easier for them to be like, I want this, how much am I comfortable paying? And then it helps them like narrow down what they're gonna buy. So it makes it more likely that they'll actually buy something. Also, a bunch of small businesses just joined. So thank you all, Ruth, Rhyme,
Hey,
Christine.
everyone.
We did introductions at the beginning. If you want to, so I'll just repeat for people who have joined since then. If you want to like promote your small business, like please like mention what you're doing, what you were hoping to learn from this live. Yeah, just wanted to do a
Bring
quick
your
shout.
friends.
M Pale Art. I don't know if you're still watching on here or not, but like, it's okay. I know it's so freaking hard and it's rough, but like you got this. Hopefully you have a support system. I've been lucky enough to have like people in my life that can help me and support me. Like, help here, take the 2-year-old, please. So hopefully you have that, but like just keep pushing forward because in the end of it, your kids are going to see how hard you're working and they're going to see, oh, mom's an entrepreneur, she does her own thing, she doesn't have to go do this or that, and they're going to see that and see that dedication and that work ethic, and they're going to be better for it. So just keep pushing, you got it.
Love
I just
that.
want to say that real quick, sorry.
No, I'm glad. I'm yeah. Yeah, I
Don't
love your stuff,
you,
Maria. Your like all of your stuff is super gorgeous, and I really hope you get the attention you deserve. So,
yeah.
and Alfred, I'm sorry I interrupted you. So, what were you saying on the topic of bringing product?
Oh,
What were we
I was
talking
like,
about?
what was I going to say? All I was going to say is when we were talking about product price points, one thing to remember, so there's two other things that I keep in mind. One is have your price points be where it comes up where if they were to buy multiple items to an even amount. So like $5, $10, $20, not like you can have an item that might cost $13, but then have an item that also costs $7.
Uh-huh.
People, for some reason, if they have a $20 bill, they'll be like, oh, these two match together, which is
Yeah.
also a good way to do suggestive sale, which I think there's a question somewhere on there, so we'll probably talk about that in the future. I think I
Right.
saw a question about upselling maybe. Um, but having that kind of price point, and personally for me, my price points can be all over the place. Like I have this cute little acorn behind me that is actually $75. It's a huge pillow, took lots
Yeah.
of time and lots of material. And I
Mhm.
have little smaller things where like these fruit are $8.
Yeah.
Um, you know,
They're cute.
actually, thank you. I actually sell more of the lower price point things, which like, you know,
Right.
stickers, pens, things like that. I don't know how much exactly your soaps are, but I know what other soap vendors around me tend to have in stock and stuff. And I don't know, I call it allowance
Yeah.
items, allowance money items, because I get a lot of kids in my booth because I
Yeah.
sell very cute, like kawaii, like kid like things.
Right.
They appeal to the masses, but get a lot of 10-year-olds with
Right.
$10 in their hands. So I actually do market to the kids.
Right.
I make sure I have a lot of price points with different colors that are like $15 and under in my booth.
Yeah.
So
Well,
just
and I
something to
think
keep in mind with who might be buying your items as well, as to where to keep your price
absolutely.
point.
Well, the whole girl math thing really speaks to me when it comes to this kind of stuff because like I
Yes.
do that and I know other people do it and so like the whole like $5 is free. If it's under $5, it's basically free. Like that, use that because it's going to be a really easy upsell when you're like, but do you also just want this really cute little pin or this really cute little dice set or like this cute little sticker? Do you want these little things, like little extra things? But then
Yes.
like also I like try to have like a cheap thing, a middle of the road thing, and like an expensive thing. And like my booth, the candles that I make are $17. So they're under $20, which if someone has a 20, they're like, "Ooh, and I get money back." That's basically free money. And the soaps that I sell are $8 normally for the 4-ounce bars. Um, but I feel like that's kind of the middle of the road and it's under $10. So like if you give me a $10 bill, I'll give you money back and the soap. Like, look at that.
Yay,
So
I got those.
yay! So, when you're pricing your stuff, make sure that it's reasonable for you. Make sure you are getting a profit first and foremost. I don't know. I've always gone by like the rule of 3. Like you take the cost of your materials and just like multiply it by 3. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that, but like I was told that when I like very first started out at like 10 years ago, and that's just kind of how I've done it because then you're like you're taking consideration for your time and stuff. I know the fiber art is probably vastly different as far as calculating because it takes so much more time. Um, but yeah, just make sure you're getting your profit. Make sure you are making a profit and make sure that it's a reasonable price point. Like I go on Etsy all the time and look at things that people are selling similar to me and make sure like I'm in check and make sure like, oh, okay, yeah, all these people are selling and asking these dollar amounts. I'm good, you know?
Yeah,
Just make
I
sure it's
haven't
reasonable.
heard the rule of 3, but that's really good advice. The system I used is I take the cost of what it took to make it and then the amount of time it takes, and then I have an hourly rate and wage for
Mm-hmm.
myself, basically. It's like, how
Right,
much should I like get paid for the time that goes
right.
into it? And then I calculate how much it costs, and then I add depending on the product, like a 10 to 20% surcharge,
Mm-hmm.
so that I have room to offer like discounts because all the platforms nowadays like force you to wholesale at some point. So you can't just like put your lowest price out there and just have that be there all the time.
Right.
That's my formula.
That's actually very close to my formula. Like almost the same exact thing I do, which is you have your cost of material. So I actually will weigh out my yarn. And when you're
Wow.
going to markets, you're not making, sometimes I make one of something. But the smaller things you're going to make multiples of, which of course with
Right.
soaps and stickers and mugs and stuff, you're going to do that as well. But
Right.
so yeah, I take material plus the time and the hourly rate I have for that, and then I multiply by a percentage for profit. So it's basically the same exact formula. I just use different verbiage.
Oh gosh,
to
I'm
talk
so
about it.
lazy. I'm like, just tell me how much it costs me to pay for the things, and I'll just multiply. I'm like, math is hard.
I spent a lot of time doing math to come up with my pricing. So I think your system is so simple and like,
It
and
might be a
some math
little
can be
too
simple.
simple, but you know what? I've made a profit on most of my stuff. And like I said, so basically I'll do the rule of three and then I'll go, like I said, on Etsy or I'll go on like Facebook Marketplace or something and I'll look at other people selling the similar things that I'm selling. And like all of my prices are right around or slightly lower. And I'm like, that's fine. Whatever. We're good. I don't stress about it too much.
So while we're on the topic of price, Aphrodite had sent in a question. Do coupon incentives work to increase sales? And I'll add on to that, like if you are going to do a coupon, like how much do you need to offer to actually incentivize someone to buy something?
So I have done at craft fairs. I only did it at my first one. I haven't done it again. I probably add it back in next year. It's a way to grow your social media, actually. If someone can show you that they're following you on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, or wherever you have your social media on, I did 5% every
Yeah.
account that you followed. And so if you followed all three right in front of me, you just got 15% off your order.
Hmm.
That was a way for me to grow my social media. Quite honestly, at the market I did it at, it didn't really work at, which is why I haven't done it again because I want to strategically do that a different way. Um, and then I have offered sales and discounts at my last market. I put all my beanies on sale for 25 bucks. Some of them were only worth 25, some of them were $75 beanies, but I just wanted the inventory. It was a clearance sale. Like I was
Right.
just inventory I wanted to move out.
Right.
And then at my next one, I'll have a couple of sales on my ornaments and stuff because it's my um,
Right.
last market of the season. But that's really up to you, and it depends on your inventory and what you can keep for your next markets and what you're comfortable with.
Yeah.
Sometimes it'll help promote sales, but personally for me, it doesn't do a whole lot.
Right.
um, it doesn't like attract people to my booth the same way it would attract people to your Etsy store or your TikTok store potentially.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
that's my experience with it.
Yeah, this is not my firsthand experience as a seller, but as a customer going to market fairs, I've seen and like watching other people buy things. And I feel like the thing that works really well to upsell people is to do like buy multiple discounts. So like, buy someone who's already interested in purchasing, like instead of buying one, maybe they'll buy like two or three. I actually saw this work at a taffy event,
Oh, I
uh
do that. I
two
do
days
do that
ago.
actually.
Yeah,
Like with
someone
the
who went in for
fruits.
oh, okay, yeah, perfect. Yeah, someone who
Yeah,
went in
yeah.
for
So I
one bag
wasn't
of
thinking about
taffy.
it that way.
Yeah. I would say that I like the buy the two, like buy the multiples. That works good. I read this question and was like, because my thing is, at least in my personal opinion, you have to be careful with just like coupons and just like immediately offering discounts to people just like out of the gate, because it not only like appears like you're questioning your value of your product, and it leads people to think, are they overcharging? Why are they just like offering this random discount right out of the gate for no reason other than just like, please buy my stuff. But like, you want to be confident in your prices, and you want to be confident in, I know this product is good enough to sell on its own with its price that I've set for it. So like offering a bunch of coupons and discounts right out of the gate just in hopes of making more sales, it doesn't really, because then you have to make even more sales to get the profit that you would have originally gotten. So I think I do like the social media idea, but I think you're right as far as like doing it differently. I don't know how you would go about like enforcing it, but I do like that idea if it could be enforced in some other manner. But
My
yeah.
worry
Yeah,
with that one is always that people are gonna subscribe right in front of you and then like walk away and unsubscribe like 2 minutes later, and all you did is just hand them
funny
money.
enough. So
Rude.
I'm someone who will put in that effort, but I also, by the way, I'm genuine enough. I won't subscribe to you unless I'm going to stay subscribed. I don't follow
Right.
and unfollow, but I have found a lot of people will follow you and forget that they followed you, or mean to do it and then they forget. So I would be the kind of person that like wouldn't do this, but someone could follow you, and yeah, they could walk away and immediately unfollow. But I have found that that's probably not likely the case, because it's the same as doing similar to doing a giveaway on social media. So you say, to be a part of the giveaway, you have to follow me. It's a good way to get your product out there and stuff like that. Same thing with like for fiber artists, for pattern tests and stuff. One of the things you have to do is you have to follow the person. Well, what is the likelihood that after, and
I
I
feel
am
like
somebody
unfollowing
this,
is
but
almost malicious. Like the only reason you're going to really unfollow someone is if you're like, screw them. Like,
yeah, you have to take the effort to go in and unfollow
yeah,
them and stuff. And so I unfollow every once in a while. I'll go through like accounts and stuff like that. And you're not an active account, like by a year, I'll unfollow you. But other than that, if I followed you, I enjoyed your content enough to
right.
follow you once, so it's just gonna stay there. But yeah, I don't know a much better way to do that kind of discount. Now, this isn't a discount, but I have seen this before, which is kind of fun. For advertising for markets, is that they'll do a raffle. So if you purchase something, you get entered to a raffle to win a product, and you just display it, or could be a mug, could be, a
Right.
set of soaps, or a set of like bowl of fruit or whatever. And that actually kind of is an incentive for people to buy stuff, because they're like,
Right.
oh, I can be entered for quote unquote free to win these
Right.
things in a raffle.
Mhm.
You just have to make a $10 purchase.
Right.
If everybody spends $10 at your booth and you have 50 people, that's $500 right there.
Right.
Without your booth fee taken out and materials and stuff. But still, that's an incentive for people to buy to enter a raffle.
Right.
This is
That's a
slightly
super good
tangential
idea.
to that, but like markets are a good way to generate leads for future sales. Like maybe someone doesn't buy at your
Yes.
market, but like they might buy from you online later, or when they see you later. So like one of the tips I saw online was to like, so that's a really good way to generate leads with like people who are customers. You can also do like collect emails from people for like an email list.
Yeah.
And so that way, and like maybe you raffle out something to all the people who enter. So like even if they don't buy something, like you have a way to keep like marketing new products to them later and potentially turn them into a customer down the road.
So
You
the
could
thing
do
with
the
the
social media follow that way too. Because if you have an email list, you have to actually create the emails and send them out, which I found that I was just really bad about doing. So I haven't done that yet. I started that back up again. But um, also having, if you do custom orders, which I do because of what I sell, but if you do custom orders, having signage or a lookbook for people to see what you've done and say that you do custom orders. I have actually had people place and pay for custom orders at markets before. So
That's cool. Yeah.
I
Yeah, we
did
were
want to add one thing for the raffle. Just check your local laws, because there's a couple counties around here where it's illegal to do raffles because it's considered
interesting.
because it's gambling. But
Oh,
you can get
okay.
around it. You just have to like word it differently, or like say it in not so much of like, not like, oh well, if you pay me this money, I'll give you a ticket to win a free thing, because they consider that gambling. There's some of the counties around here that will allow that, and others they're like really strict about it. So just check your local laws and stuff first.
Yes, definitely.
I love
Don't
the
get
idea.
yourself in trouble.
Yeah,
Because.
don't go to jail.
Yeah, no one go to jail and then like
No one
call
go
us
to
up on the witness stand later for
Yeah, I'd
things.
be like, why did you do this raffle? Oh, well, these three cool divas
Allison
on
told me
TikTok
to.
Live told us to do it.
Oh, I just had to, and I know that's such a
panelists.
weird, obscure thing. And I figured, because you guys were talking about it like it was no big deal, I figured that it probably wasn't like a thing everywhere. But like Indiana's also a state where we can't buy alcohol on Sundays except from like noon to 5 or some stupid time. So yeah.
Yeah, there are weird laws everywhere.
Georgia's that way.
up until
Definitely, yeah.
literally up until I think 2 years ago, every casino in Indiana had to be surrounded. It had to be in water. So, like, there's a local hotel that I go to all the time that built a casino and they built a moat around it to get around the laws. And then when they passed the law and said that's stupid, you don't have to do it anymore, they just filled in the moat.
And Indiana sounds like such a wild place.
It's a little wacky.
I did find out here that there's actually a law. I can't remember if it's in the Washington State or California. It's one of those, and I have to look it up before I do a market because I'm in Washington. But you like legally have to tell the customer how much sales tax they're paying, so you can't just like take their cash and just be like, oh yeah, no receipt, go for
Oh
it.
yeah, do you guys charge sales tax?
I'm not planning to. Yeah.
Currently, I just put it into my price. So I do. So whereas online, my prices won't actually be cheaper, but online I don't factor it in.
Right.
In a market, I factor it in.
Right.
So I'll just round up from the cents. So it's not like, $15.37.
Yeah, that irks me to my core. I just say, this is my price. I'll deal with eating the taxes later. Like, don't.
Yeah.
It's just $8. Just give me $8.
But I do know that on Square, using the Square reader and stuff, you can actually input your inventory into that.
Yeah, and you can opt
you
to do taxes.
Yeah, and you can opt in to do taxes, including on cash. So you can record your cash transactions in there, and it'll calculate out the tax for you and everything, and send them like an email receipt.
That's helpful.
Yeah, I'm not planning to collect tax because I'm going to be selling a lot of these like tiny 1-inch $1 stickers. Like, and I don't want to charge like $1.08 or.
Yeah,
you have a nickel. Like,
take a penny, leave a penny. Just put 50 cents worth of pennies in there.
Yeah, I get so frustrated over that. I mean, you guys know, because I literally don't even figure out my freaking cost of everything. I'm just like, it's fine, sure, you want to pay me that much, whatever. Like, this is too much to handle. I'm sorry, I don't know. Math is hard.
Hey, as long as it's working, then you're doing it right.
Yeah, I wish we could talk about remitting taxes later, but I am too afraid. There's too many legal consequences for this topic, so like I don't think we should touch on it.
You're right.
Like,
You're right. This is for joke purposes only.
LOL.
Legal.
We are not lawyers.
We have no idea what we're doing
against us.
That can't be held liable for anything we say here.
No.
Please don't send the IRS afterwards. We are all remitting our taxes. You need to figure out how to do yours.
I do my taxes, so we're good on that. I have proof of that. So,
but we can talk about, while we're on the topic of payments, what sort of. And it's funny, I have the question written as like user-friendly POS systems, and every time I see POS, I think like piece of shit, not point of sale. But what point of sale systems do you use, and what types of like payment methods are you collecting at fairs?
Well, first off, they're all kind of POSs, as in piece of shits. So,
coincidence, right? Yeah, and beans too. Yeah.
So cash, funny enough, at like fairs and farmers markets especially, people actually come with cash because they're just so used to that being the main thing. So definitely have change in ones and fives.
Yes, ones and fives. If I'm doing a smaller market, you don't have to do that much. Like, if you're doing a small market, shoot for like $20. Do like $10 in ones, $10 in fives. That should be enough to like carry you through. But if you're doing a bigger market, do more. But yeah, definitely have change, because you will miss out on sales because you don't have change. And then people are like, oh, well, I only have this. So sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I personally, my main form of payments that most people use too are Cash App and Venmo.
Mm-hmm.
I have recently came out with a QR code. So I do accept Zelle now, but I will warn you, I have not successfully had a Zelle work with my QR code. We usually end up having to go to Cash App or Venmo.
Gotcha.
I do not use PayPal unless I know the person. And that is just because PayPal has a clause or has this ability, and it's good for customers, but there's scammers and there are people out there that are little shitheads. Excuse me, there's no other word for them, that will pay you on PayPal and then they can immediately go and make a claim and say that they never got the product from you. And PayPal doesn't even question it or investigate it. They will just immediately take the money from the seller's account and give it back to the customer. And I have had that happen once, and I know multiple other fiber artists that has happened to them at markets. And so I no longer accept PayPal
Yeah.
unless I know you. Like,
I don't blame you. I would be livid. See, I'm glad you said that because I have been taking PayPal and Venmo, and most people do Venmo for me. So like I've just been focusing on Venmo too because most people have Venmo at least around here. But that's good that you told me that about PayPal because I will not be using PayPal anymore. That scares the
I
crap
just
out of
don't
me.
trust it. Yeah, it scares me
Yeah,
too, and I don't want it to happen again. I also use Apple Pay if somebody, because I have an Apple system,
gotcha.
obviously an Apple phone. So if they do too, I will take Apple Pay because that's just an easy
Okay.
transfer from them to me, just by like
So
a phone
I have
association.
Android, so I don't have that option. But I will say that I recommend Square if you're starting out. I used Square for a really long time. It always did me well. I don't know if you guys have experience with that or not, but like I had a pretty good experience with it. I will say I just upgraded to Shopify. Shopify's a little bit more expensive. But it was a dollar a month for 3 months for like a trial. After that, it's like $100 a month, but it's the online store and your domain and the POS system all in
Oh,
one. And
yeah, that's a nice little
they
package.
sent me like $300 worth of like they sent me the chip reader and they sent me this little thing to put a tablet in, and like they sent me a bunch of really nice equipment. And I know $100 like is not in certain like people, not everyone can afford that, especially small businesses. So like do not do that. Don't overextend yourself if you really can't make that happen. But for me, I was able to do the free trial to like really get my stuff going first. And that made the most sense to me just because it was all inclusive. And honestly, I've really liked their POS system. It's been really nice and like it was really user friendly. It has an app. And they sent me the little tap reader so that way, because
Oh, nice.
I hate it when I'm at an event and I'm like, hold on, let me look at your card and write down the numbers so that like I can, oh, it just makes me, oh, I'm like, I'm so sorry. I promise I'm not stealing your identity. I'm not doing that. So,
Yeah,
uh,
that was really sketchy
so
for
I
sure.
like being able to tap or like do the chip or like insert it or swipe it or something and not have to worry because I have that little device. So,
Yeah. And for people who are really on a budget, Square has a tiny device that plugs into your phone. So it either plugs into a headphone jack, which unfortunately not a lot of phones come with nowadays, or the lightning jack on iPhones. So
hmm,
that they offer it for free. So you can sign up
yeah.
for Square and get that for free, and you don't have to pay anything. You just have to start paying transaction fees once you start making sales. So I think that is like the most cost effective
Yeah.
way to
Yeah.
get
Cost effective for sure. Square is definitely the way to go, especially if you're just starting out.
Yeah, I ended up buying the $60 thing because I'm on an Android that doesn't have a headphone jack, so I didn't have that option. But like $60 to get started, depending on how frequently you make sales, could is also like relatively reasonable.
Right.
Um, I think we've covered all of the payment questions. So minimal fees, POS systems, using QR codes for payment systems, we covered those. Um, what is on your this is a huge topic jump, but what is on your non-product packing list? Like, what do you take that is not the actual product you're selling, such as, Sam, you were telling me you recommended taking like a cash box. I've also heard people recommend having like business cards to give away. What's on your packing list?
Yeah. So I will say that I've kind of done away with business cards. I use Linktree and you can get like a free account and get a free QR code. And so I like print off my QR code and laminate like a really pretty flyer that I designed and like stick it up there. That way people can follow my social media, because business cards, I found that people don't use business cards nearly as much anymore, and they end up just like creating more trash. So I do that, but definitely make sure you bring your laminated stuff. A cash box, I feel, is necessary. You have to have a cash box or something, even if it's just a little shoe box, something that you can contain your money in, that you're not like waving dollar bills around all day, because like you will have people try to steal your stuff. They're sketchy. They random people will just come by and be like, "Ooh, money." So have a cash box and have it to where it's contained somewhere like right next to you. Definitely bring a chair, because some people don't have chairs. And there's been so many times where I've gone and I forgot a chair, and now I'm like stuck standing like an awkward person the whole thing. I'm like, I don't know. Do I sit on the floor? Like, I don't know. I don't know what to do now.
Now go to your local thrift store, get a stool so that you don't need to stand up. Like you will always be at eye level for people when
That's
they
a good
come
idea. Having like a little stool. You can get one. I have one of those like collapsible stools, like camping stools, you know? That's normally what I take, or like a camping chair, because I always take so much crap that my car is like filled to the brim. So having something that collapses to the tiniest size, you know?
in. And we had a couple of interesting comments too. Ryan mentioned that she does Linktree QR codes on business cards. I was planning on just doing the Linktree QR code like at the table that they can scan, because I know a lot of people do throw away business cards. So I didn't want to invest money in making those. And then Maria, fanny pack instead of a cash box is also
Fanny
really
pack's a
smart.
great idea. There you go.
So I actually do use business cards with QR codes, and they actually do fairly well for me.
They do?
I do know, yeah, I do know that they do generate, like they do generate trash, and that was something I did think about, because I'm all about, 90s child, recycle, reuse, save the planet, all that good
Right.
stuff. But I have found I don't put a lot of other information on it. It's just a cute little business card. And I put my QR card for the link tree on it, but I don't give them to everyone.
Okay.
So I ask a lot of the times, would you like one of my business cards so you can follow me on social media? Or if they had expressed interest in other things or commissions. So, and then they're just laying out too. So people can take them if they want. Like I make sure they're displayed, but I don't just like hand them out to everybody. I don't put them in every bag. Definitely
I think
having
that's
a
important
laminated
to be
one.
conscious about, like who you're giving them to. Don't just give them to a bunch of random people who are literally not interested at all. Like,
Yeah.
yeah,
I don't use them as a way of advertising unless you're already interested in getting in touch with me. Definitely having laminated QR codes that people can just scan to follow you and get to your link tree. And I actually have like a little side purse that I use for my money. I definitely having something you can put your cash in. I don't like the idea of, I just personally didn't like the idea of a cash box because of how I am at markets. I tend to walk around and like talk to everybody. I do
you
sit every
do.
once in a while,
See,
but yes.
I'm normally by myself, so like I can't leave the booth, because then I get.
No,
like,
I just mean in my booth.
Oh.
I guilt people into my booth. I'm going to be honest. I do the whole very friendly eye contact. Are you enjoying the event today? How are you doing today? And then they're like, oh shoot, I guess I have to walk into your booth now.
This is a very good transition into another question actually, like how do you like keep your energy up? How do you bring people into your booth? How do you ask for the sales? Just a quick shout out though. Thank you so much for the roses, right? It's like not expected at all. I really appreciate it.
Did someone
And
put flowers on here? Oh my gosh.
yeah. And Waters in the Wild made a really good point of
That's a
little
really good
stickers.
idea.
Yeah, I was thinking about doing little like bookmarks, something that is like handy but always has your business name on it so they can keep it and use it. So that's a great idea. I will mention. Sorry, what was that?
I was just saying, I have stickers that have Loopy Cat Crochet and the cat on it that I hand out or I stick to bags and things like that. So
yeah,
people like stickers. I like stickers.
I love stickers.
Yeah. An advice I got from someone else on Threads actually was to make sure to take things for self-care. So have snacks on hand in case you're not able to leave the booth to get food. take a lot of water, take some
Yeah.
Advil, because they were saying that like sometimes just being active and like
Yes.
energetic for that long gives them a headache. So have something to like help with that. And like comfortable shoes, and then also you are dressing up your booth, but you also need to dress up yourself, because part of the sale is like selling yourself to the person. So don't
Yeah.
show
Yes.
up in like a t-shirt and sweatpants unless that's part of your brand. But like try to match the vibe
Look
of the things
nice,
that
Yes.
dress the part. Yeah.
That is a huge one. Dressing the parts or just making yourself presentable.
Yeah.
Um, so that people feel comfortable approaching you and as well as talking to you about your brand and your business and stuff. I actually
Mhm.
take a tripod with me. We were talking about content
That's a good
earlier,
idea. Yeah.
and knowing like how to like when you want to film content and stuff. If you have a tripod, I actually have one that's a tripod but also turns into a selfie stick.
I'm
uh
using mine right now. It's
yep, yep.
it's like a
And
cheap one.
so
I have the cheap one from Walmart. It cost me like $10 and I was like, cool.
$25 on Amazon.
Yeah.
And it has like the little control so that you don't have to be by it, and so you can actually set it up and film your booth like as you're setting it up. You can get close-ups, you can take panning shots, and then all of that can be clipped down and reused for content on your social media.
Right.
um,
And you don't have to use like I know there was one question like getting content and stuff while you're at these events. You do not have to post immediately. Obviously,
no,
like post immediately, hey, I'm here, but like you do not have to post like the aesthetic pretty videos while you're at the event. Focus on your event, focus on the people that are standing in front of you. And then when you get home and you're exhausted and you're like, I just want to lay in bed and play on my phone, perfect. Now you get to edit videos on your phone.
yep,
Quick call out. Again, not a lawyer, but in some states you are not legally allowed to record people without their permission. So like
Oh,
make
good
sure if
point.
you're recording your booth, like try and get just yourself, or at least know what the laws
yes,
are in your state.
Yeah.
Consent is very
yes.
important
So when
before
I
you
say I
start.
record my booth, I'm not recording customers. I take pictures of customers when they purchase things, but I ask for permission for that.
Right.
And then I make sure that I ask for permission to post them. And I've actually been thinking about having a little release form to do that as well, since a verbal thing, like it's not recorded.
Yeah.
Um, but when I say I film myself, it is just me, or it's me and my significant other or my friends that are there that I know it's okay to film. I do
Right.
not film my customers at all.
Yeah.
That's an invasion. I wouldn't want somebody to just film me walking around a booth without me knowing. So
Mhm.
I'm
I
not going to
know
do that
there's
to
a lot
someone
of
else.
creators that will film like and I think I did this like once at the Covered Bridge Festival where you're filming yourself doing the sale, and like I recorded it once mostly because I wanted to show people how I go about selling the way that I do and how I go about talking to customers the way that I do. And in Indiana, it's a one party consent state. So basically, as long as I'm talking in the video, like it's cool. But yeah, like be mindful and respectful. Don't be just like recording random people and like putting it on the internet. Don't do that. And like you said, Snea, point it at yourself. Make sure that like you're just recording yourself. Don't record a bunch of random people.
Yeah, yeah. But I was actually taking notes because I did not think to take my tripod to film setting up my booth. So this is a great tip. I'm going to be doing that. I'm going to be
That's
filming
a good
just
idea.
myself.
People love those videos.
Yeah.
Like I love those videos, like before and after shots,
Mm-hmm.
just panning shots of people's booths. Like
Yeah.
I love seeing how people set up their booths. Speaking of setting up booths, I don't know if that was a question or not, but making sure that your booth is your aesthetic, but also fits the vibe of whatever craft fair or whatever kind of market you're at. So I just did a Holly Jolly Fest, a holiday market one. So I put up like Christmas lights and things like that.
Right.
Um, People, it doesn't have to have, you don't have to spend a lot of money, you don't even have to spend any money on it, but just making sure that your booth has something a little different, a little bit something more like your business to it. It sets you apart from other people and even potentially other vendors that are selling similar things to what you're selling.
Right.
So like
Like,
my booth is set up like you're at home. It's like an old cottage core type
I love
vintage looking
that.
like little booth. I use I use bedspreads as my tablecloths that I've turned into tablecloths because I like the aesthetic of that more than like a white shiny tablecloth.
Right. Well, and that's a good way to set your booth apart because I guarantee no one else has your tablecloths.
Nope.
Like I guarantee it. So, yeah, that's brilliant. I
So
think this is
just
a good
doing something a
segue.
little.
Do what?
Just saying, just do something a little bit different that is your that makes it yours.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah,
This
and for
is a good
multi
segue into
boxes.
like getting how to make your display attractive on a budget, I
Oh,
think.
that's cute.
Yeah,
Aphrodite said to wrap your boxes in your storage, like in gift boxes for the holidays and things like that. That's a really cute idea.
That is fun. And then you get to open it after Christmas and it's like a present all over
Yes.
again.
Yes.
it's adorable. Yeah, the setting up your table on a budget is a great topic. That was also one that Aphrodite requested, or actually no, maybe no, that's the one of the few ones I don't have attributed to her, so maybe not. But it I actually went to my local thrift store day before yesterday and just bought a bunch of things on discount. Like I think I got like all of the stands and everything I needed, and it's like a little
Really?
hodgepodge, but I like put them all together in the store itself just to see how they
Right.
look together, and it looked cohesive. It was all like browns and black,
Oh, nice.
so it
That is
worked
my
really well.
biggest thing. And that's like the biggest thing I would recommend to people starting out is like, it's okay if it's cheap. It's okay if it's free. Like, try to keep it on a budget. I get that. But try to make it cohesive. If you
Yes.
have like a neon pink shelf with like a chrome, like scrunchie holder and then like a wooden stand, like if it doesn't make any sense, people are not going to be drawn to it. If it's cohesive and you're sticking with like a general theme, like try that, pick your theme or what you're wanting it to look like first, and then find budget friendly items that fit that theme. Don't try to like, okay, well, I really like this one, but this one doesn't match, but I guess we can do it. Like, try to stick with the theme. And then
Yes.
that way it all looks good. And spray paint is your friend.
Yes.
Yes,
I
Aphrodite.
was just
I have
gonna
spray
say
painted
that.
so many things.
You can just spray it to prime it, and then you spray paint over, and all of a sudden everything matches and is cohesive. Also,
Absolutely.
don't be afraid to use what is in your home. You might have to take things out of it and put it back in, and I know it's a hassle, but I can tell you right now, almost everything I use in my booth, I think I've only actually bought a couple of things because I have storage everywhere. So definitely look around your house. Those spice racks that you have, depending on what you're selling, you might have to take your spices out of them for market season.
Yeah.
But like the little spice shelves and things like that, you might not even have to pay for anything to find out if you like markets or not. And then as you start to make a profit and build your business, you might go out and buy some things that are specifically for your market. But upcycle that stuff, girl.
Yeah. I
Look
love that you
around.
went to the thrift store and found like everything you needed. That makes my heart so happy.
Yeah, that's also really impressive because I don't think
Yeah.
I've ever been that lucky to find
No.
everything I needed, or even like usually I find one-off things like here
Mm-hmm.
and there.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, I was trying to get a little creative with what I was buying. So these are not things meant for display stands. Normally people have like the acrylic risers, right? Like the tiered risers to show off their products. I
Yeah.
bought a bunch of baskets of different sizes that have flat bottoms and tops. And so I'm just flipping them over and I'm laying
Cool.
them on like each level. And so like
I love
you have to,
it.
yeah, if you're gonna
Oh, I
think of this
can't wait to
something
see this.
Yeah.
we'll find out if it actually ends up looking good. I thought it looked cohesive in the store, but I'm very worried once I put all my stuff on it, it's going to look a little crazy. But I will reiterate for the next fair if it does.
I bet
Um,
it'll look amazing.
yeah, and then for the stickers, I actually found these wire racks. I think they are meant to be dish racks, honestly, but if they stand upright. And so if I put them upright and I have little baskets on them, I can put stickers on them. So that's what I'm using for my sticker display.
Oh,
That's
perfect.
brilliant. I would have never thought about that. I've always wondered like how to go about displaying stickers. And I've honestly, the few stickers that I make and sell, I just put them on the table. Or like
Mhm.
sometimes I'll put one of each sticker that I have. I'll like put it as a border around my like my flyer that has like my link and my QR codes and stuff on it, I'll like make a border of stickers. And then when people are like, oh, I want this one or I want that one, I just like pull one from the box. Here you go.
Oh, I love
I've
that.
I've seen that a lot where people just display one,
Yeah.
like a board of stickers, and then
Yeah.
people say, "Oh, I want this," and then you just go to that box
Yeah.
number or
See, because I didn't
whatever.
know how
And
to like set them all out. Snea, I think that's a genius idea.
that's
Hanging
awesome.
from the baskets.
Be able
That's
to be like,
cute.
"Oh, look at this cute little sticker."
But
I
like
can't
sticker
wait to
things
see
are
it.
one of the main things I sell, right? So I think if I had fewer of them, I'd probably do something similar too. It's like simpler. I thought I saw I was going through Pinterest and I saw some people who just had like 5 or 6 sticker designs. They just had little bowls and they just like laid out the stickers in each bowl. Like
Yeah.
that was like, well, I have 72 designs. I'm probably not going to take all of them, but like it's a lot, right? It's
That's
I
a
can have
lot.
like
Yeah.
72 bowls now.
That is way too
That is a
many
lot
bowls.
of bowls to look through
Yeah,
without.
exactly. So I wanted something people could like easily like scan through, and so
Well, and you want to minimize, like you were talking earlier, you want to minimize the overwhelm when it comes to like having so many product options to choose from. It's not that it's bad to have all those options, but you want to try to minimize people getting overwhelmed by it. I think that's a brilliant idea, is having them just like, here you go. They're all
yeah.
here.
Yeah, and sticker books are a great idea to minimize space too. I was going off of advice I saw to create height on your tables. So like you want to create like
Yes,
sight, make
yes.
it easy for someone's eye to like scroll through everything. So when you create height, it's just like natural lines for people to follow, so it makes it more likely that they'll like observe more of what is on your table as
Yeah, they
opposed
have to actually stop and
to
look.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Definitely, that would be my number one tip after my first market was make sure that you use your vertical space, no matter what you're vending, no matter what you're selling, um, because otherwise people either aren't attracted to it because you can't see it from far away.
Mhm.
It's not organized or easy to look at everything because everything's kind of cluttered together.
Go
And
flat.
then yeah, and then on top of that, like you were saying, it also draws people into your booth because they're like, oh, I have to stop and look at all of this. So not only is it eye catching, but it lets you just kind of go and look at everything. I did not have good use of vertical space at my first market. Still a good market, but I looked at my booth and I was like, oh, this booth looks like crap.
Oh, it's
It
hard though
wasn't.
to come up with things. And
It
for
wasn't a
certain
crap
products,
booth.
it's hard to get the vertical space. Like it's hard to come up with things to make it higher, especially if you haven't done it before.
Definitely just like think about that, even if it's just a couple of shelves or you turn baskets on top of each other. I
Mhm.
use wooden just wooden crates that I
Mm,
turn upside down and lean stuff against to get my vertical space. So I mean, you don't have to be fancy with it either,
right.
but
Yeah.
definitely make sure you use that. That would be my number one thing.
Yeah,
Um,
it's going to be specific
the,
to what you're selling. Just make sure it fits your brand. And you were mentioning before, like don't go with the neon, with the chrome, and I was like, that is good advice. But also, if that is your brand, to have like
well,
eclectic colors and
oh no
like,
no no! If that's your thing, if that's like your niche, go for it. I am all about neon pink. Do it. But like, just make sure it's cohesive and it makes sense. If you are selling, very cutesy, like okay, like your cutesy kawaii things, but then you're doing like just like black everything, or like or vice versa. If your stuff is very neutral and very minimalist and you're doing like neon pinks and neon yellows, like pick something, pick a theme and kind of stick with said theme. That's all I was saying. No, go for the neon pink. If you want to do neon pink, you will definitely stand out. um
What are
Uh,
your thoughts on Aphrodite's comment about putting the table inside the booth so people have to come into your space? Because I've seen both pieces of advice, like put it inside to bring people in, but the other one, which I think resonates with me more, is that like putting it inside your booth makes it like a bigger commitment for people to come in. So like have something outside instead so people can like casually scroll by, get drawn in by it, and then come in. What are your thoughts?
so I'm a you both it. I'm a you both it girl. So
mhm.
one thing about, especially with outdoor markets, putting your table, your main table inside is good for two reasons. One, it does draw people, like makes people come into your space. It is a bigger commitment though. But two, if you're at an outdoor market, more than likely you will be out there when it's sunny or maybe it is cold or whatever. And if you have a tent, you want people to walk in. It gives them a place of to rest out of the sunlight and everything like that. But you also want to make sure that you have something eye-catching up at the front to draw them in. So if you only have one table, consider getting like a little rolling cart or a little shelf to put out front to display some of your wares that will cause people to stop and then want to come into your tent and see what else you have inside of it.
That's a good one.
If you only have one table too and you have a 10 by 10 tent, you don't have to set your tent up at the back to bring people in to give them a little bit of shade, like say from the sun. You only have to inset it a little bit. Yeah, and then you're still drawing people in without having to make them feel like it's this huge commitment to actually step into your tent.
Yeah.
And always put your most eye-catching, intriguing stuff up at the front, whether it's your best seller or just I had a crocheted snake for a long time that I always put up front because it brought in all the kids.
Yeah.
It took forever to sell it. Everybody loved it. It took forever to sell it, but so many people stopped to pick it up because they loved it.
Right.
And then it caused them to come in and look at the rest of my booth. So I just want to mention that because just because it doesn't sell doesn't mean it's not a good eye catch to bring people in. I put my blankets out front too. I rarely sell those because of the price point, but it brings people into my booth because they stop to look at that work.
Speaking of price point, so I know you said like your prices are kind of all over the place. Do you put them on the things? Do you put the prices on the things?
Yeah. So my larger items, I actually I tag. So this is an orangutan and I just have little tags.
Cool.
Tags
so that
on
was
them.
one thing that I wanted to talk about.
But the smaller things though, I put them in like baskets and stuff.
Right.
And then put tags on them. And
right.
So like I have these little like pops. They're my best sellers, my little silent fidget toys.
Yes, I saw some of those
right
at an event a couple weeks ago.
I love these things. This one's a little Grinch themed one. Usually I just do mushrooms, but I have Christmas themed ones. But these are my best sellers, so I actually have them in two places in my booth. And one of them's at the front for people to come and pick them up and play with them and then come in.
Right.
But I just have I have all the different types I have in one regular flat basket that has the sign up front that says how much it is.
Right. So my biggest thing I wanted to emphasize and point out, if you're doing an event, please for the love of God put prices on your things or put a sign, because some people will ask you, if you don't put prices on anything, some people will say, hey, how much is this? Most people will not. Most people will pick it up, and if it doesn't have a price on it, that's it. They're walking away. And the price might deter some people, but if you put that price up front, most people are going to pick it up and they're going to say, I could do that. I could do that price. Yeah. And then that way because some people get so anxious and nervous to just ask how much it is. And so if you're doing a new market and you're watching this, please make sure to put prices on your items or a sign in front of the basket of items, something so that people know how much it is and they don't have to ask you. Because not only will they might not ask you, but if they are asking you, it's going to get annoying real quick because you're going to have 55,000 people that are like, hey, how much is this one thing?
Also with signs, make sure that you're labeling things if it's not obvious what it is. And if you think that it might be mistaken as something else, then just label it. The only thing, I'm getting better at that. I'm upping my signage, but the only thing I will never put a label on are these things because this is part of my interaction. Yeah. Oh, hey, let me show you what this does. Oh no, you didn't break it. It's supposed to do that. I know that sounds really funny, but it's a way to talk to the customers.
Absolutely.
Without saying outright it's a fidget pop because they're cute anyways. But one thing I hate is walking into a booth where I don't know what's going on and I pick something up and I'm like, what is this? Is it a bottle opener, or is it
Yeah.
supposed to go in my car? Like, I'm not quite sure what this is. So if it's not obvious what you sell, soaps, obviously obvious. Mugs,
Right.
stickers, that's pretty straightforward.
I mean, I still put labels on them all, and they still say goat soap, like in big bold letters. Because so, you'd be surprised how many people are like, "Is this soap?" I'm like, it says soap right there in like 4 different places. It's yes, it is soap.
Please don't eat it.
Like, oh God, you have no idea how many people threaten me to eat my soaps, and I'm like, what do you want from me? Like, that's disgusting. What's wrong with you?
I will say the soaps look very tasty. Like,
Yes, they do look tasty.
Thank
I had
you.
a soap vendor that was next to me at one market, and she was laughing with me because she actually ended up putting on all of her labels, not for consumption, not for food consumption, because she had
I see.
too many people
Yeah.
joke with her about how good her coffee.
I have a coffee and cocoa one, and I've had so
Yes,
many people be
smelled
like,
like.
I'm going to eat this. And I'm like, don't. What's wrong with you?
Exactly. And so she was like, I just started putting it on my labels so that nobody could sue me in the
I've
future when they
debated it.
finally
Honestly,
decided
I'm probably
to.
gonna after this video because I have to reprint. I finally got new print. Finally got new paper for my printer, so like I have to do that anyway. Make new labels. So like, honestly, yeah, I'm probably gonna.
yeah.
I don't know. I thought it was a smart idea. It's kind of like McDonald's, well, okay, they rightfully should have done this, but the caution hot on all of their coffee.
Yeah, yeah.
I feel like the theme for this live has been please nobody sue us afterwards. We cannot afford a lawsuit. We're small businesses. Yeah.
We're poor guys. We're
Definitely,
broke. I
definitely
don't
cannot afford
know.
that.
Yeah.
I will say, since we were talking about like making it easy for people to not ask questions, I also saw really interesting advice about like how to actually welcome someone into your booth without creating like the pressure to have a conversation if they're like on the more introverted or anxious side. Instead of asking them like, "Hey, how's your day going?" or something where they have to give a response, greet them with like, "Hi, thanks for coming by. Let me know if you have any questions," where they can just like nod. They don't need to respond, but like you have
Right.
acknowledged them, you've welcomed them in. Yeah. Does that resonate with you?
Yeah.
What's the usual way of
Yes.
bringing someone
Also, just eye contact. Like,
Mm.
you can, I'm pretty intuitive with this. I can usually tell if somebody is kind of closed off. You can tell by body language. And the more
Yeah.
markets you do, the more you'll learn body language of people as they come into your booth. But if someone looks a little more closed off, just making sure you make eye contact with them and smiling, some kind of head nod and acknowledgement that they're there goes a long way.
Yeah.
Where also it helps with just people knowing that that they're there.
I see you.
Protection of your product as well. I worked
in?
for Publix for 15 years, and that's a huge thing with them is people acknowledging your customers, even if you're talking to someone, because that's a good thing too. Making sure that people know that they're there and that you value them, and by not making eye contact with them and making that smiling at them or whatever, that's going to make them feel more comfortable with being in your booth and
Right.
talking to you.
I normally start out like, oh God, I'm that like really high energy person. I'm like a golden retriever. I'm like, hi, how you doing? How you doing? But I I mean I thrive in those environments because of that. And I will say, like, I will start off, I just say hi to everyone. Everyone who walks by.
Yep.
I'm not like, come here, let me show
I
you
just
something.
hi.
I'm literally just like, hi, how are you? To everyone. I say hi to every single person, whether I think I'm going to get a sale from them or not. The thing that I use to kind of guide who I continue the conversation with and who I stop at hi with is, do they acknowledge me when I say hi to them, and how do they acknowledge me? Because if I say hi and they do not acknowledge me, or they're just like, hey, and they keep walking, I don't want to have a conversation with that person at that point. Like, I don't want to talk to you because you're not in a good mood, and like, no, thank you. But the person who whips around and is like, hi, how you doing? And like matches my energy, I'm like, you're going to be my new friend. Come here a second. Do you use soap on your hands? Do you ever wash your hands? Yes? Come here.
Oh, good. You're my kind of person.
Oh, yes, you're a clean person. Come this way.
I got the products
But
for
like,
you.
I do that all the time where I'm like, hi, how you doing? And then as soon as they match my energy, I'm like, go time. So just like knowing, okay, this person is ready to engage. They're matching my energy. When you recognize that, I think that is when it's like, yes, they've invited you into their little bubble. Now you can be like, hey, let me show you some things. And then just be passionate about your products. There was a question on there that was like, how do you get over the rejection sensitivity and like get to the yeses? And that is my biggest thing that I've learned through working in sales, doing this. And I worked at a call center for 2 years. Like it's rough sometimes, you know? But like learn it. Well, and I worked up to supervisor. So I got to deal with the people that were very angry. But in doing that, I learned that like you are going to get no's, and accepting that is just like the first step. Accepting that you're gonna get no's, but like the amount of no's that you get, the more no's that you get, the closer you get to a yes, because you will also eventually inevitably get a yes. So like I make a game out of it, and I'm like, how many no's can I get? Because that just means at some point I'm gonna get a yes. So like if you think about it that way and make a game out of it, like it gets a little bit easier. Just like don't be scared of them. They can't hurt you, you know. Their mean words aren't gonna, you know, it's not gonna physically hurt you. You'll be okay.
I think that also a lot of people that say no might also give you a compliment, like, oh, your soap smells so good, or it looks so pretty, or
Yeah.
oh, your craftsman work is really well. I get a lot of old ladies
Yeah.
that just come and wander through my
Yeah, and they just want to look
and
at
I know they're not, when they walk in, I know they're not going to buy anything because they just came to look at what I made, and they will stand there and talk to me about crochet, which I love. But you know, people will also come through and they might not buy anything, but they'll compliment you. Ride that high too. I can't tell you how big of an ego boost markets are for me with people just saying they love my product, and that brings me joy as well. Like, yes, I would love for you to buy something from me, but if you just enjoy my work too, like,
thank you for
that gives me,
appreciating it.
yeah, thank you so much for coming by my booth. By the way, that is the other thing to do, is you say hi to someone. When somebody leaves, say, hey, thanks for stopping by.
Yes. Thank
Like,
you
they
so
don't have
much
to
for,
respond,
like, be
or
gracious.
anything. Yeah. Thanks for looking at my stuff, even though you didn't buy anything. That's cool. My booth was intriguing enough for you to come and look at it. Like, and then maybe next time they come to a local event, they come to the same event and you're there and they see you, they're going to go, that person was really nice. I'm going to go look at their booth again. It was fun. And eventually you might actually make a sale to that person.
And people also look at your booth and then walk around and come back and buy sometimes. Like maybe they want to like scope out the place first before committing to buying something. So yeah, like definitely always be nice when someone's leaving it. And also in response to water around, this is so much harder. I don't identify as an introvert. I am an incredibly anxious person. So like I am worried about like the continuous rejection. The main piece of advice I can give on that is like something I learned in therapy, which is that like sometimes people's actions don't have to do with like your stuff. Like if they walk away without buying something from you, it could be because they don't have money to buy. They might really like this stuff. They just can't afford it. Or maybe they just bought something and they've like run through their budget for the day. Like it's not about you always.
Yeah, it's not an attack on you. And I'm so sorry. Trust, like I refer to myself as an extroverted introvert, because like at the end of the day, like I shut down. I'm like, everyone leave me alone. Don't talk to me for 3 days. Like, but I have over the years been in this environment for so long that I've gotten used to being like this hyper bubbly, like, you know, when I'm talking to people, because it's more receptive to people. People really retain a lot more when you're excited about something and you're passionate about something. So I get it. It's freaking scary. And like, it will take time and practice. You're not going to be perfect at it out of the gate. And that's okay. Just keep reminding yourself, like every no that you get is one step closer to a yes. And even if you don't get the yeses on sales, if you're just like, hey, would you mind checking out my social media? If you put someone on the spot like that, I guarantee you they won't say no. They will say, oh, yeah, sure. And they'll pull out their phone and they'll
Yep.
scan their thing. And that for you can be a win-win. And that's how you can make the interaction into a win-win, no matter whether you sell or not, because they're either buying something or they're looking you up on social media. And then you're getting that sort of like, oh, yes, I did something good. I furthered my business. Aphrodite said sleeps for 16 hours.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
no
Huddle
that's
for 3
me
days.
over
Yep.
here. I'm totally an extroverted introvert, and
Yeah, it's rough.
people don't believe me when I say that. I'm like, no, I'm very much an introvert. Give me a book and some crochet. I'm a granny at heart. A book and crochet and a good cup of
And
coffee
like
or
a cup
tea,
of tea and
and
like
I'm
some
a
jazz
happy
music.
camper.
Just leave me alone
Yes,
for
and
6
leave me
hours.
alone and I'll be fine. But I am one of 6 girls. I grew up with a lot of cousins.
Yeah.
I worked Publix for 15 years. I did HR training. Like that is something where I had to develop the skill of being comfortable talking to people.
Yeah.
Inside, I'm an anxious mess. Outside,
They're just
you
like,
won't really see that, except for maybe the sweat across my brow.
right.
But one thing I would recommend if you feel like you're very introverted and you want to learn to be more extroverted at markets is come up with a list of 5 things, 5 questions, 5 things. Hi, thanks for coming to my booth, or how are you doing today, or hey, would you mind checking out my social media, and just use those same 5 questions to start conversations with people.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have something planned, and it helped for me, at least when I started doing this kind of thing, especially with like, again, started off with Publix and having to talk to customers. They teach us to look at something in your order and start a conversation based off of it. Trader Joe's does it all the time. A lot of people find it annoying, but it's because we're trained to do that because we're supposed to interact with you. So then that's where, reading people's body language comes into play too. But if you have a list of 5 things that you can talk to people about, well, then it's planned. You don't have to worry about that anymore. You already have your interaction there.
Make one of those 5 things a joke or something funny about your product. Because when I say, like, I will literally, people will walk past me and I'll go, hey, do you wash your hands? And then, and people think it's hilarious because they're like, what? Yes, what? And I'm like, oh, come here. But even if you don't get a sale, if you can make someone laugh, that will make you feel better because you're like, haha, I did it. But then also, like, they'll remember it. It'll be more easy for them to come in. It'll break the ice a little bit better. So, like, try to think of, like, I mean, like, come up with recited, rehearsed things, like jokes that you have planned out so that you're not on the spot. But, like, come up with funny jokes or funny puns about your products and then just yell them at people. It will be hilarious, at least for you. I mean, I would laugh at that too, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
And if there's anything you're uncomfortable doing at a market, I think something that could help for things that you have to force yourself to do is like just adopting a different persona, like pretend to be your alter ego for the day. Like I am very like bubbly and effusive when I make content online, but I'm like a pretty mellow person when I don't have a camera in front of me. So like this is like a different side of my personality, and like this is the side that I'm like gonna lean into with the markets, not the one that wants to like cover myself in a blanket and just like a read in a corner.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. So I think we've covered handling rejection and taking no's personally. It's going to be hard. The other piece of advice I have is to, if it ever does start to get like very personal, my backup plan is to sort of go into like sociology experiment mode where like I have a background in data science. I like really like to track numbers and statistics and things like that. So like I'm going to plan to actually like take notes of like how many people walk by my booth, what percentage of them actually walk in. And like by treating it as like an experiment that I'm observing, it's going to make it feel like less personal and more like, oh, I'm just watching. What are people going to do? And no matter what they do, like it's something that is useful for me. So, yeah, just another wild idea if that resonates. I feel like we've actually covered most of the market questions. Does anyone else have anything about markets or fairs before we pivot into wholesaling? Although we also have been online for close to 2 hours now, so I'm not sure
I
how's
was
your
gonna say I'm
energy.
probably gonna have to get going soon because I gotta go pick up the
Yeah,
depot.
I have to go get my
But
emissions done before it closes.
I mean, I'm happy to talk a little bit about the wholesale stuff if you guys wanted to, or sorry, I had to plug my phone in, or whatever you guys want to do.
Okay, maybe since we're coming up on 2 hours, maybe we can talk about like how to do the wholesaling stuff another day. We can,
Yeah,
if you have time, we can plan another one of these.
that
Um,
works for me. That would be fun.
Yeah,
I've
that would
had a
be
good time.
fun.
This has been great.
yeah.
This has been awesome. I would love to do this with you guys
Okay, awesome.
anytime.
Wait, Eleanor wants to say bye. You say bye. She keeps snuggling me. She's so sweet.
The folks who were with us who were watching, are there any like last minute questions you had about markets, fairs, anything about it that we didn't have a chance to cover? Give a few seconds for people
Oh,
to chime in if there
if
was.
you have a recommendation for things to pack that are normal, a lot of contracts will tell you you have to have this, but make sure you have something to weigh your tent down with, tent weights.
Yes, if you have a tent, bring tent weights. I have had so many tents take off. It's hilarious, but not good.
Yeah, it's really funny, but it causes a lot of chaos.
No, it's
Um,
chaos. It's
and with
absolute
that
chaos.
being said, you can use 5 gallon water jugs and carabiner clips
That's a
as
good
a
idea.
cheap way to keep your tent down or for added weight. So on really windy days, I haven't had to do it yet, but I got that tip from another vendor at a market
That's
I
a
was
really
at.
good idea.
She puts the weights down at the bottom around the legs, but then on really windy days, she also weights it at all four corners. And then she just covers those 5 gallon water bottles with something so that they
Right.
look,
Pretty.
it doesn't just look like you have water bottles. But definitely weigh
Yeah.
down your tents, guys.
Yeah.
When they fly away and somebody has to run after and like hold it down for you,
It's
it's
not good.
hilarious. I wish somebody had gotten it on video because let me tell you, I was
Do you
posting
have
that
like
like
a
every
certain
week.
amount of trauma now that associates with these tents? Yeah.
Yes.
Same.
Anytime it says it's going to be windy, I'm like, oh,
I
what
don't wanna.
extra
I
thing
don't
did
wanna
I do
go.
with this? I'm just like, oh my
Yeah.
god.
Oh, and
I
make
took
sure
out
to.
somebody else's booth. That's where the trauma came out with. So
Yeah. Yeah, Aphrodite, don't do it the night before. Just wait until the morning of. Especially because your stuff could get stolen too. Not even like the water or the wind or anything. Like your stuff could just get stolen. So don't I would not recommend, especially if it's outdoors, don't do it the night before. Do it the day of. Just get there early. Um, prep ahead of time. That way you can get it set up quickly. One thing I would say also is like bring a pair of scissors, a pen, a Sharpie, and tape of some sort. Oh my God, I'm sorry, my cat was trying to knock my thing down. Yeah, so like a pen and a Sharpie, a pair of scissors, and some tape, whether it be duct tape or scotch tape or whatever, just in those little emergency situations where
mm-hmm.
you're like, oh crap, why isn't this staying up? I need to tape it real quick. Or, oh, wait, this thing is acting weird. I need to cut it. Or whatever. Yeah. Bring like a few stationary items, the basics. But yeah.
Great point. Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else though.
This is awesome. I know I personally got a lot of useful information out of this, so thank you both so much for doing this with me. Like it was a lot of
Thank
fun.
you.
Thanks
Yeah.
for having us.
Coordinating
Thanks for
this.
like
Yeah.
coordinating it all. My gosh, I know
Awesome.
all of our schedules were like, well, we can do this. Well,
Oh
this
wait, no,
was
never mind.
really
That
well
won't work
done.
for me anymore.
I'm glad we made it work. I think this is great timing, like right before holiday markets really like jump into full swing. So yeah, this is really awesome. We also had quite a few people like sort of jump in and out for at least some portion of time. So hopefully
Got
that'll pick us up.
1.3 thousand likes. Look at you. Wow.
Woo!
That's for all of us. This is for all of us together.
Well, yeah.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. Yeah, I hope you have a great rest of the day, and thank you everyone who joined in as well, and for the great questions and like
Yes.
keeping the conversation lively in the comments. So
Yes. Thank you guys. Have a
Thank
good day, everyone.
you. Bye, guys.
Bye.
bye.